Well, hi there, everybody. You're checking in with Traveling with Jack and Pam, and this is my grief journey series. This is part 2 of what I'm calling I'm Angry. Part 1, I was probably a little over the top, but I really was letting out some real anger that's been pent up in me. And you know, we've talked about before, they have all the different stages of grief that you go through after you lose a husband or a wife or a child or a close relative. And I guess I'm kind of in the anger stage. Just mad at the world over the circumstances. I talked about a lot of them last night. Well, today I had another little bit of anger. And trust me, this entire video is not going to be just me being angry. I'm going to provide a little hope too at the end here. First of all, though, today I got up and I was again just angry that I was by myself. Didn't have to go to work for a few hours. I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I want to feel something normal. And right now, in the middle of this pandemic, it is so doggone hard to feel like anything is normal. We've already lost our best friend, our best everything. And in my case, Pam, she was my world to some extent. Yes, I love my kids. We adored our kids, but you know, they grew up, they moved on. I was still with Pam from high school to now. Well, 10 months ago, still had her. But anyway, the point being, that loss was enough to turn the world upside down for me and inside out, and for you too, I'm sure. Then you put a pandemic on top of it, and we're told all these things we can no longer do. Oh, I just thought, I just want to go outside and not see people walking around in masks. I just want to walk past somebody on a trail and not have them run off into the woods because they're scared I'm going to give them COVID-19. And yeah, it makes me angry. That's one of the things that makes me angry. And no, it's not that I'm a naysayer about COVID and I'm not anti-mask or anything like that. I'm just angry and tired about the situation. So this morning I got up and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I want to find something a little normal in this world. Now, Pam and I were always generally extremely healthy eaters. I think you know, it was pretty much an all-organic diet. We didn't eat pork. We didn't eat beef. Very selective. And I've continued that even in her passing. But every now and then we would cheat. And one of the things that we would cheat was going to Chick-fil-A for a breakfast biscuit, a chicken biscuit for breakfast. So I got up this morning and I thought, you know what? That might be fun. I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to sit down in their dining room, which is always kind of happy and bright and people are smiling, and I'm going to go there and I'm going to have my chicken biscuit. So first of all, I get there and people are marching in wearing masks. It's the workers though. And I'm like, this isn't how I remember Chick-fil-A. Then I walk inside and a young man goes, sir, your mask. And I remembered I had it in my pocket. I went, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put it on, because I do. So I put it on. And he goes, are you not going to go through the drive-through? I said, no, I'd like to order inside if I can. He says, well, you can do that, but he says you can't eat in the dining room. And I'm like, oh, really? I thought some of the dining rooms were now open, because some restaurants and such are around town. He said, no, ours isn't, but you can sit at a picnic table outside there. Well, it was about 100 degrees. That didn't sound extremely appealing. Yeah, almost 100 degrees already. It was 10:30. But I went ahead and I ordered the chicken biscuit, my cup of coffee. I then went outside. I took off my mask and I sat at the little table by myself. And I got angry again. I went, I just wanted something to be normal, and I can't even go into frickin' Chick-fil-A and feel normal. I thought this would be fun. My bad. So I got in the car, and then I went to the car wash and cleaned the car up really good, and then I went to the tire place because I had to get my tires rotated. And I could tell you so many things that I'm angry about. Last night at work during our newscast, I had one of my angry moments. They were reading stories after story, all bad news, all bad news. And then the last story before weather was about, and they kind of made light of it. They said, and on top of everything else, now there's a pepperoni shortage in the country. Then they tossed to me, and they said that they thought people were probably losing patience with these things. So they tossed over to me, and I said, you know what? I'm just losing patience with hearing nothing but bad news night after night. Maybe I've got some good news in the weather forecast. And I went about and did the weather. And I know it probably sounded harsh, but I thought too, I'm sure if people are still watching any local news, they're getting angry too, going, golly, Bill, is that all it is bad news? Well, I'm here to tell you, unfortunately, it is. Okay, so now let's get to the good part of this message. It's okay to be angry. It's part of the healing process. I've had my 2 days of anger now, and boy, I've been mad. And I've also cried a lot these last 2 days at night out of being angry. And then today, my last stop before coming here and then getting ready for work was at the tire place. And I took a long walk waiting on to do my tires. I walked a couple of miles and back, and then I came into the sitting area, and there was a young man sitting there who had 2 prosthetic legs. And he had a t-shirt on that said the Ranger Foundation. Well, I quickly looked up on my phone what the Ranger Foundation was. And it's basically a fantastic group that supports veterans who've suffered traumas and different things. And I looked over at the young man. I said, you know what? I said, that had to be pretty tough losing your legs. I said, I lost my wife last year. And I said, you know, loss is loss, whether it be you losing your legs, me losing my wife, somebody losing their job. I said, it's a terrible thing. He goes, yeah, but he says, we just got to keep on going. And I said, you know, I'm learning that. We got to keep moving forward, don't we? We can't get caught up in all the anger. And I told him I'd done a couple of videos about being angry. And he goes, yeah, he says a lot of vets, they go through that as well. But he goes, you can't get caught up in it. He says, you just can't. He says, you know, you have to look for the positive things in life. And he's doing that. He now lives here with his wife, and they live near family, which we talked about how I'm not near family, and he is. And he says, that's really important. Talked about he lived in Colorado, and I told him we used to live in Colorado. And I told him about this little YouTube channel, and I said, I want to give you one of my cards. I said, I've got some grief support videos. I said, I do cooking and travel. And he goes, I'd really appreciate that. He says, we just heard from a friend of my mother-in-law's who's, her husband's a local minister, just got diagnosed with ALS. Boom. There it is again. So sitting there in the little lobby of a tire shop, I meet a young man who's lost both his legs. But he's moving forward. He's putting on the good face. He's got a positive outlook. He's doing the best he can with the cards he's been dealt. And then he tells me of the young man, local minister, who's got to deal with ALS. And unfortunately, the outcome from that's usually not good. And then his wife and his kids are going to have to deal with loss. So it's all how we deal with it. So what's the point of the message? Bottom line, we can be angry, but we can't stay angry for the rest of our lives. It won't be any fun. It won't accomplish anything. But every now and then, it's good to get it out. So I've gotten it out for the last 2 days, and I kind of sense I'll probably get angry again at work when I see the day's news headlines. And I know the answer to that. I got to get out of the local news business because it just makes me too angry looking at the bad news all the time and being part of it. So I can fix that. And I can also fix my attitude outside of work. And I know that's what Pam would want. She was always positive. I've told you guys before, up until a few days before she passed, I still found emails in her sent box to people who were not near as bad off as her, and she was encouraging them and never complaining about herself. So we can learn from Pam. We can learn from the young man. I should tell you his name. His name is Jed Morgan. You think of Jed Morgan. I'm going to think of him a lot these days. And how he's lost both his legs, but he's got 2 artificial limbs now. And he's out there giving it his best. And by golly, if he can do that, we can too. So thank you, guys and girls. This grief journey sucks. We know it. Has its down moments. But just don't let them keep you down. And I'm going to work hard to not let this one keep me down. But again, don't hold it in. I've learned that. I probably held in my anger way too long. So I'll still be unhappy when people don't respond how I think they should. But hey, that's life. We're all that way, right? Again, until they've walked in my shoes, they don't know. So let's give them a break, right? Oh, and I know you're probably looking going, he's back in the cemetery. No, again, I'm not morbid. I come here because it's a quiet place where I don't have an audience listening to me spouting off. Thanks, everyone. If you watch this to the end, you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to our channel, Traveling with Jack and Pam. I love your support. Maybe if you find a video that touches your heart or maybe would help somebody else, share it with them, okay? Thanks again. Bye now. Have a good day.